Hi, and welcome to, I think, the 7th presentation that we're doing from the TiddlyWiki 2017 European Meetup. This time I'd like to welcome Andrew Daum, who's going to talk to us about bridging the world of TiddlyWiki with the world of Microsoft Word. Over to you, Andy.
Yeah, so having heard a lot of presentations in the last day or two that are sort of a little beyond me at times, technically, I thought I would compensate for my lack of technical knowledge by sort of giving a bit of context around why I decided to use TiddlyWiki in this way to automate production of Microsoft Word documents and how useful that's been for me in the context of my company. So maybe just switch to the screen.
Now your screen's showing, yeah.
Excellent. So my company is based in China. We run a website that provides advice and guidance on applications for Chinese undergraduates applying for postgraduate study overseas. We have about 50 to 70 people working on the website at any one time, academic faculty, admissions professionals, and senior students. Generally, we've recruited them quite quickly, and we deal with work at a very high volume. Last year, for example, we had over 12,000 clients come through the website, paying money for a service that to them is extremely high stakes, particularly it's their future, and they want to get into the best possible school they can. And any incremental difference they can secure in that is important to them. I should add that our company is prioritizes completely sort of ethical approaches to admissions, and we're very much run counter to the typical practices that have sort of grown up in the last 10 years as Chinese students have begun going overseas. Our model is intended to provide low-cost services that are accessible to a broader range of students and genuine advice, authentic advice. But yeah, the challenge we have there is I'm recruiting these people who in quite rapid course of time. We have standardized products that we have to teach them. Generally, the kind of people that do this work are maybe a little older, not totally familiar with how to use the kind of the minutiae of Microsoft Word. An additional set of problems are caused by the barriers that exist between the IT team in my company and me. I choose not to work in the office. I sort of work remotely, and communication has always been a big problem, getting ideas across about how we can regulate our products and build systems that will ensure everything goes smoothly. So that was another challenge that TiddlyWiki began to help me solve, because I could do things myself. And it allows you to experiment in a way that's quite low cost. You can try out various different things, and I've used TiddlyWiki to produce formats for using the downloadable HTML download to produce reports. We have one service that the advisor goes through and clicks various buttons having read a document, and it will generate a set of feedback for the client, which they can then tailor and personalize. So it's a very low-cost service. I think it's like $2.50 or something, but it can be done in a very short space of time if the advisor is quick and on point, because the bulk of the work is generated automatically from things we put into TiddlyWiki. So anyway, yeah, in this context, talking about helping clients with their resumes, formatting is a nightmare in Microsoft Word, and it has been a nightmare generally over our system. There are so many different versions of Word. When you open something, sometimes, or people do it in Google Doc, and then they save as a Word file, and you open it, and it's like it looks horrific and is extremely problematic. But obviously, everyone needs a Word document version of their resume. So being sort of comfortable with these kind of settings in Word is extremely helpful. And yeah, as I say in the presentation, it might seem trivial, but if you've ever dealt with 5 complaints at once or something, if somebody's resume has come out wrong, it's very unpleasant. So I was always looking for any way I could to regulate it. And what I want, just background on me. I had a bit of knowledge of HTML and CSS, and I'd started to try and use some PHP, but not very much at all. I sort of knew from various sort of random experiments that Word lets you use HTML and CSS. And the sort of challenge was, how can we create a situation where the advisors are focused entirely on advising and giving advice rather than constantly ferreting around with the functionality in Word, especially when the fees, there's not much margin for error if somebody's spending loads and loads of time on something that they're not too comfortable with. So how to go from...
So I'm so sorry, Andy, didn't mean to interrupt, but the second sentence on that previous slide was one of the most critical things. That's your key discovery, isn't it?
If you want that bit about the Word documents, yeah. So
this is the thing, nobody else knew this.
Wow, so if you change the file extension from HTML file to .doc, the Word will try and open it. And there are various kind of HTML.
And will successfully do so in most cases.
Yeah, I'll show you in a minute. There are some sort of word-specific kind of HTML sort of bits and pieces that you have to put together. But yeah, it's quite a lovely surprise when that happens. So
that's a doc rather than docx.
Yeah.
Why haven't we renamed it to docx?
I haven't actually tried that yet. I think we can try it right now. But yeah, maybe the reason I didn't emphasize that is because for me, getting from the getting the workflow to kind of work smoothly in a way, and you'll see it isn't actually smooth, but you can see how it could become smooth and then be used by a large team of people. That was the kind of the panic for me.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you for making me emphasize that. So doing a bit of research and stuff, I figured out how to kind of make this work. And so this is just an example, this is actually how it would end up. But so the advisor can enter the details here, and this is just a sort of representation of what it looks like, just for reference. So this is all building HTML, which goes onto here, and this is clunky element in the process, part 1, that hopefully can be solved via a request I put on GitHub the other day.
So all this HTML markup, is that generated automatically from the previous?
Yes. And then, so this is clunky step 1 here. Go to base64.com, put the thing there, encode, get it. And put it there. And this is clunky bit 2 that I was hoping to get help with. So when I originally put it together, this pressing a button would combine this with this header here into something that could be exported. So you get these 2 elements there and there. The first bit being the kind of header, and the second bit being the base64. I couldn't figure out last night how to fix that. But so when you've got that, you just click. Oh, I didn't save it. Sorry.
Is this built on the official resume edition, or?
No, although the design is obviously heavily influenced by that.
We've got two TiddlyWiki resume builders next door to each other.
Yeah. So yeah, this is chunky part 2. This is not how it's intended to be.
So it needs to be 64 encoded to.
And so you get the download is this, clear, perfectly formatted, no room for error in the kind of, line height and margins. I know it seems desperately kind of silly, small things, but it can. This is incredibly helpful when you've got a team of people doing things at scale like this.
Things like that for formatting technical papers and all that. I know everybody uses the tech, and while the tech is wonderful, it's also very opaque. So if you can make like a TiddlyWiki thing that spits this out in that format.
The way, I figured out how to do this from various Googles on that subject, and I was just way too confused by how I didn't even know you pronounce it like that. I was in latex. So I can just show you the steps here again, just to summarize quickly. So build HTML template, base64 encode, build the content for an MHTML file, use the custom export format to download content with .doc file extension. Boom.
So in that process, like they build the HTML template, that all the steps are done in TiddlyWiki.
Apart from the base64 encode at the moment, but that's a very easy thing for us to add to the core. Well, there's there's other filters that do conversions like URI encoding, KNM 5114. So we'll add base64 encode and decode to that. Was my thought.
So yeah, we will generate a set of maybe 50 templates in HTML, and clients can select when they order their service. And so all that element of personal taste and so on is taken out of the equation for the services we do. So it's great.
Why do they want them in Word?
Because, well, everyone uses Word, and it's right.
It's not the students that want them in Word, it's the ones that they send.
Most everybody's asking for PDF, I thought, but I didn't think they were asking for Word anymore.
But I mean, so not many people edit PDFs sort of casually. Like Word is the most easily.
But why would they be editing the Word documents if they've generated them in TiddlyWiki? TiddlyWiki's the editor, why then do more editing?
The problem is some agencies, when you're submitting a CV or in this case a resume, you submit that to an agency will then go and modify it, applying that against a specific position.
Right. So our services are multiple iterations with the client. So the basis for it is the client sort of provides you with some information, you interrogate that information, ask questions, and get them to improve it. And then you kind of, and then you have another iteration where you go back at them.
But if their iteration goes and is modified in Word, then the TiddlyWiki has lost its value.
Well, no, because the formatting that's been placed in there is set in there now. So you have this framework of tables and things that hold all the words in the right place. And creating that on a kind of personalized basis every time is very time consuming in Word.
Since we're still recording, I think, is the presentation itself?
Yes, apart from no, that was pretty much it.
So yeah,
Should we
for their
say goodbye?
I mean, it can go on, I guess, but just so that anyone viewing there need to cut at this moment, I guess, and we continue talking about it.
Okay. Do we need to?
No, I mean that they can just so they know they got what you wanted to say about it.
Right.
So when you're converting it to base 64
Yeah.
to build the MIME-HTML, why do you need to do that? Because MIME construction allows you to actually have raw HTML?
I don't know the answer.
Because I do a lot of work with mobile phones because that's what my job. And mine emails I'm building all the time on the fly. And you don't need base64 encoding. As long as you've got the MIME separators, the contents of that, if it's base64, then it's probably a graphic, fine. Or in this case, you're using text HTML as an actual content provider. But it can be just the raw HTML. So you don't need to go through the 64 encoding step.
Okay. As I say, this is me cobbling elements together that I think. And
also,
that may be,
one of the other things I've actually done is, this is for some reporting systems that I've done at work, is there is actually a JavaScript routine which can take an element, a div, a span, or whatever, and use it and build a MIME component and force it as a document download directly from your browser. And you download it as a specific MIME type. In this case, the one I'm using is vendor XMLExcel. And you click it, it automatically downloads an Excel spreadsheet. So in this case, you could actually have it so that you build your MIME, your div hidden somewhere on the system with all of your HTML content, click the button, and you immediately get the Word document downloaded straight away. I think I need to give you that code.
That would be lovely. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
The other thing I see as a potential problem is that using HTML with a doc extension. It may be that probably Word's okay because Word actually looks at the file and says this isn't. I know what the format of doc files are because I was decoding them last year, and it ain't like that. It's horrible assembler, very low level format. So it's looking at it saying, isn't what I'm expecting, what other formats are there, and we'll sort of come to a view that it's actually an HTML. But if you were to open it in something else,
like Google Docs,
like Google Docs, or if you were to open it using the stuff, whatever it's called, on Mac or the open source versions, you might find that those don't open it so easily.
So can we see that? Can you try opening the .doc file in Pages if you've got it installed, and also seeing if you can upload it to Google Docs?
I mean, that's the other thing I say is similar to you. Actually, the docx format itself is just it's just XML. So you can actually pop it inside. You can pop HTML inside it, and in a particular set of tags, and then it gets crunched down with some compression. But it's not very complicated.
It's zipped up, it's a zipped up directory.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I unpack that for the XLSX import plugin. Needs to do all that. So it's the same thing. But yeah, let's see that. That would be. Wherever you downloaded the damn thing. Pages is that?
Pages right there. There you go. It doesn't like it.
So yeah, what we don't allow the advisors on our site to use Pages or any other big making use Word. But this is obviously problematic, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, if you named it MHTML, it probably would open.
Okay. I feel like I want you to like
So I think what it means is that there's a rock solid part where you export like that, you open it in Word, and then you save it again. Then it'll be a native Word document. Yes. So this is the issue: is that Word knows how to decode HTML files with the .doc extension, but it seems pretty like it's only Word itself that knows how to do that. But all the versions ever. So I think that in lots of situations that's still fine. I mean, companies, they tend to give everybody Word, and so it's only going to be Word they're going to be using. But if in some of the use cases, I think things like creating a template document that you then fill in Word, where you start with it in this format, but then as soon as you start working on it, you'll have opened it in Word and be in a more normal format. But yeah, that seems like there's a pitfalls that are going to mean it's not the universal panacea. But then, yeah, I mean, a couple of sort of reflections on that. That my original interest in this, particular interest in this, was the way that Andy, as a self-confessed, not super technical person, had discovered a technique that I had no idea about. And that's one of the wonderful things about TiddlyWiki, is that even the ability for the HTML file to save changes, I didn't think was possible, and it was something somebody else showed me how to do. That keeps happening, keep finding things that, I know this bloody code so well.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, isn't it? But then the second thing, I guess, is it causes me to reflect on this whole interoperability issue. This idea, I love the idea of a group of people who work together, one of whom adopts TiddlyWiki. The rest of them benefit without having to change anything in their habits. And that seems like a really interesting goal. We try and focus on other obvious goals, like making the save changes process easier. And that's about growth in one respect. But this is maybe about how we get more value out of the people who already do know how to use TiddlyWiki and make it do amazing, magical things. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think particularly when I first encountered TiddlyWiki, that's exactly what I tried to do. Was I wanted everyone to use it, and I think I was describing the workbook thing that I created. Initially, I was having our advisors send this thing back and forth to completely baffled Chinese clients who were, opening this, following the same, I did that for about a month, and it was complicated. So yeah, that's interesting.
So have you been using this, or is this emergent?
This I kind of clattered this together in January this year, and haven't done nothing with it since. I just suddenly thought about it when I came.
But the general idea, just so I get, is that you fill out a set of fields in TiddlyWiki and ultimately pushes it through to a Word doc.
Yeah,
Formatted Word doc.
Yeah, and yeah, it's very much based on the idea of the fact that a lot of people don't seem to just know how to do simple things in Word, and at scale it keeps becoming a problem. And this can just lock it all in.
I'm just trying to figure out the role of TiddlyWiki in this as opposed to like the Word template.
Well, you can make a programmable tool that asks you lots of questions, move sliders around, and the template it generates depends on those parameters.
Yeah, I don't know how to Word template, but I just about know how to do it.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying. I'm just trying to understand.
So in fact, to make it
additive,
I bet you could rename that .doc file to .dot file. Then when Word opens it as a blank document, as a template for a new blank document. And that would be I can think of those use cases where I've got basically I generate so say like an event like this, where say if you're running lots of events like this and you wanted to generate a slightly different template for each event, and then you were at the event going to put documents on the fly. Those kinds of scenarios that to generate 50 slightly different Word templates would be complicated otherwise, manually intensive.
And I guess there's just a sort of flexibility in here that I don't know whether maybe you could get it in a Word document. It just seems there are fewer for the user, the advisor at the end, or it seems like there's fewer moving parts in some mad way.
It's quite intriguing to me because I would never have thought of going in that direction. Going the other direction, I'm always interested in doing, because I agree that Word has got its issues. So I'm kind of knocking my head against the wall, saying, why are you pushing them into Word?
So, well, here's another.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, like, so what's the value that TiddlyWiki adds to
Here's another use case.
ultimately
What
using
if
Word
you-
as a production environment? Which is odd.
Oh, because a lot of clients want to.
Yeah, yeah.
If you were collaborating on a writing project with a bunch of people, you knew that it needed to be a hypertext thing, so you were going to do it in TiddlyWiki. But the co-authors that you're collaborating with, they're not ready for that. They're only ready to deal with Word. So I can imagine building my complex interfingled document and then having an output that outputs a different slice for each of the people I'm collaborating with. They can then get a Word document that to them, it's just what they've done every day for the last 25 years. I'm marking up a Word document, I'm changing some of the text. They send it back to Steve. Steve then uses some of the docx importer to break those, to pull all the content out of those documents. And so that would be the same as you're doing with TiddlyWiki. But you get the value of using TiddlyWiki in the center. But the people that you're collaborating with just see the world they've seen for the last 25 years. And that seems really powerful. You don't, you don't teach them how to save changes. You just say, open this file in Word, do this stuff, save it, email it back to me.
Yeah, one of the things I've had to come to terms with what I'm trying to do is that there's a big body of people who use Word and they're never going to stop using Word.
No.
You just have to work around that, work with that.
Now that's really
with them.
okay. No, that's a yeah, it's a legacy defeater.
I think it's one of the things that we've done quite well in the last 18 months is these ways of interfacing with other universes, the Excel importer, the text slicer, all of this stuff makes TiddlyWiki less of an island than it used to be 2 years ago.
For bringing in, I just had not thought of pushing into. I had not thought of pushing into.
Yeah.
Sort of like,
But you get it in a work.
pull in and
Well, the
push back.
basically pushing out that's got expanded in the last 2 years is pushing out static HTML files. And that's basically what Andy's doing, is he's generating a static HTML file with this other HTML doc extension and so on. But it's basically just generating a static file. Everything that we've ever seen in terms of technology for generating static files, sophisticated transclusion and so on, you can just reuse. Okay, I think let's draw this one to a close. Thank you, Andy, very much indeed. That was really interesting. Great discussion too.